Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by TJS Ceramics, Posh Boutique in the Bridges at 57th, The Sky in T, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Hey, welcome everybody. The Sioux Falls Canaries, our local baseball team, playing decent baseball. That's not always the case, but you can always count on being entertained at the old birdcage. Game Day Entertainment Director John Gaskins tells us what's been a hit so far this season and what we can expect for the rest of their quote-unquote parties. The mighty Corson Art Players Managing Artistic Director Brian Schipper gets us caught up on what has been, what is, and what will be happening at MCAP, including a very unique live recording of two popular local podcasts. Wonder what could be one of them. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day, and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
Wherever you might be, whatever you might be doing, whatever you toast with, and whatever you're toasting that liquid in is going to depend upon a number of things. But regardless, lift it high and toast it to being warm people. Here's the story behind it. This week, I met John Runyon to talk about some ideas for this year's SuperCon entertainment. First time I met the guy, absolutely loved meeting him. He's spent a fair amount of time in California. And when his California friends ask him what it's like living here, primarily referring to the winters, not so much the summers, he says, "The weather's not warm, but the people are." Love it. Let's keep being warm people. The Weekend Eve Toast is brought to you by The Sky in Tea. The Sky provides all caps fun that is best had with friends. Have fun playing darts, shooting pool, have fun listening to great live music from local musicians, or have fun singing at karaoke. Need some extra room to hold a company party or a benefit? The Sky's back room fits the bill. No matter what's going on at The Sky, it's local and it's lively. It's time to choose a lucky winner of pizza with a podcaster. Everyone that follows the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook or Instagram is automatically entered to win a free pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. We pick a winner each week. This week we say congratulations to Adam Neal. We'll be in touch with the Adam to get you all set up with some jaw-dropping, show-stopping, thin crust pizza. Pizza with a Podcaster is brought to you by Sonny's Pizzeria right across from USF at 26th and Waltz and Sonny's 81 on South Phillips. Check out the very fun and incredibly flavorful menu online, sonnyspizzeria.com.
Honorable mention.
Oh, there are so many things that go into determining who or what gets the honorable mention for the week. Normally it's something I've laughed at or been just tickled pink by over the past week. Well, for the second week in a row, I'm going selfish. This week, it happens to something that's taking place tomorrow, Friday, July 21st. My mother, Mama Holly, turns 95. The woman makes me laugh, gives me plenty of comedic material, and, all of those things like maybe a tear of joy, things different throughout my lifetime. I'm 60, she's 95 tomorrow. We've had plenty of all of the above. So, Mama Holly, congratulations. You are this week's honorable mention. Later on, we hear from MCAP's Brian Schipper. Up next from the Sioux Falls Canaries, John Gaskins on the Dave Holly Hour.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics. We have thousands of classic vintage ceramic mold items and several new items too. TJS Ceramics offers classes through the Sioux Falls Community Education Program and special open studio nights every Thursday evening. Bisques, studio time, or finished custom items are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in Sioux Falls today.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffat Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Support the Dave Holly Hour in a very easy way. Buy Dave a cup of coffee by clicking the cup in the lower left corner of www.davehollyhour.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Sure enough, gotta say it, even when we talk sports on this show, we're still talking about Sioux Empire arts and entertainment, and it's always a pleasure to do that, and always a pleasure to have this man on. Well, it better be, because it's his umpteenth appearance. He leads the league in appearances on the Dave Holly Hour.
Yes!
From the Sioux Falls Canaries, here to talk about all the fine entertainment they have during their parties is John Gaskins.
Thank you so much for having me again,
Dave.
Just
no problem, man.
Want to go behind the curtain for the listeners. Dave begged me. He said, you haven't been on in 2 months. I really need you to stay in that lead. I am dying for guests, and so could you please come in here? And then I didn't do the favor of buying you alcohol because you already had plenty.
Yeah, a ton of it.
So
it was a great 4th of July.
And actually, I skipped a step. I said, I'll do it, but we have to do it at happy hour.
Right.
We have to do it over cocktails. So
happy
cheers.
hour at the Firefly Oasis, but up in the upper level as we are here in
Perched
the Dipsy
above.
Doodle production studio.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes, it is very good. Oh, excellent. Great to have you.
Good to have
again.
you.
Yeah.
Good to have you here. Good to have you in your own
it should
home,
be in my
your
own
studio.
home. Right.
Yes.
And there's the lovely Miss Carries. Yes. She's trying to be silent so she doesn't interrupt anything. We just got started because I know it's going to come to a shock as you, my love, but we chatted a lot beforehand. Yeah, so that's it. But so we just got started.
And we were actually just talking about my dinner plans for tonight of this taping.
Yep.
It appears in the Gilbert and John household, dinner discussions go about the same way. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
I don't care. What do you want to do? No, I don't care. Whatever you want to do. Then I worked a little today, but he worked all day. And, so I'm like, I don't want to, and my dad's, and Kendra, our daughter's coming over, and it's like four people. It's my dad's last night. We've eaten out plenty, but we ate at home last. We got pizza. Anyway, and I said, I don't want to make you, I think he was planning on cooking, but I said, you don't have to cook. You've been working all day. I don't want to make you cook. I'll bring. And then I remembered that I was doing this with you for happy hour. I said, I'm going to Sioux Falls. I can pick up something and go home.
That's right.
And it's still just kind of. And then he asks me out of the blue, I asked you last night, does your dad like broccoli? And I'm like, why? Are you trying to make something with broccoli in it? He's like, and then he actually, I don't care. You don't care that my dad doesn't like broccoli, or you don't care And then he's like, yes, if I make something that's going to have broccoli in it. Well, I'm like, my dad doesn't like broccoli. And my dad also said he'll eat some of the pizza he didn't eat last night. And then he just starts sending me memes of like Michael Scott from The Office with the face palms. And I'm just like, well, that's exactly what I'm thinking. So anyway, it's a very roundabout. All right, let's
talk
dive
parties.
In. Yeah.
Happy hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cheers again.
Nice to do it here because we can have what does your father call it? Adult beverages.
Yeah.
Yes, Ken, this is for you.
He drinks straight Scotch on the rocks, and we're doing, what is this?
This would be Gentleman Jack.
Okay,
on
Gentleman
the rocks.
Jack on the rocks.
Yeah.
And that's basically, it's either that or Stella. I mean, he does drink beer, but first couple nights we were out on the porch, and I love old fashions, and to the point where I buy the stuff to make all the bitters and the cherries, and that's what I like to do. And I don't like to drink straight Scotch most of the time, but it tastes better with my dad or with you. But I said, would you like an old fashioned? Would you like me to make an old fashioned? And he said, no. I drink adult beverages. Glimpse into my dad.
I'm going to quote that at some point. That's awesome. I love it.
It is.
All right.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we have to talk, because every year that you've been on now, and every episode that you've been on, we talk about it being a party, and we talk the entertainment portion of it, because that's what this show is about. It's about entertainment. But we have to give kudos. Canaries are actually playing pretty well lately.
They are. It's a lot more fun when they play some good baseball. I mean, we have as much fun as we possibly can have every night, because we can't predict if the team is going to win or lose that night. Even at teams that are leading the standings and blowing everybody away, it's a 100-game season. So whoever is the best team in the league this year in our league is going to probably lose at least 35 games. Yeah. So you're going to lose every now and then. In baseball, you don't know what's going to happen that night, but so you just operate as if it's a party. And by party, it's not just it's a frat party, it's a guy party. It's we're not just at a bar going crazy. We do some fun things with beer, and we love it when things get rowdy out there. But it's a party for kids as well. It's a party for your 5-year-old. We got playgrounds, we got good kids food, and the mascots. We love to light up kids' faces, so it's a party for them as well. But man, it's a much better party on the nights when we win games, especially when we get out to a good early
there's a
lead.
victory. That helps.
When the game starts, first few innings, a lot of people will leave after the 6th or 7th inning because they got to go home. They got to tuck their kids into bed, or they got to tuck themselves into bed, or whatever. So it's really helpful when the team starts hitting well right away, gets a few runs on the board, and gets people. It makes the entertainment that we put together even better and funnier and more entertaining. It makes the beer colder. It makes the food taste better. So,
which by the way
wonderful.
Is excellent.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I can't say anything about the beer because I don't drink beer. I drink adult beverages.
I know. Yeah. Right. Yes. You do.
Callback time.
You do.
Sorry.
One of these days, I hope we get a liquor license. But
yeah, that would be nice.
It would.
The food though is fantabulous.
Thank you.
Really, really enjoying that. But you've had some great successes.
I said thank you like I cooked the food. Like you.
Well,
you're welcome. It's my recipe.
You're a representative of the Canaries, though.
I will pass it along to Chef Jess, who's been a big difference maker out there the last 2 years. She puts a lot of love. It's just a lot more home cooked stuff in the sense of it's her stuff, it's her recipes, and it's a lot more than burgers and hot dogs, although those are fabulous as well.
Yes, they are.
So, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about these parties.
Yeah.
You've had some huge successes. Beer Fest sold out this year?
It did. It sold. It was in a certain sort of area, the berms, the grass on our ballpark, overlooking the third base line. So there's only so much space, but so we capped a number on it and sold all the Beer Fest tickets that we had, and we had 5 local breweries that were there. And it was a hit. It was exactly what we were looking for. We spent an hour out there before the game, and it was purely a beer fest while other fans were filing in because our gates open an hour before each game. And 4:30 on a Saturday afternoon, we had great weather. We were blessed by really good weather. It wasn't too hot, and it was sunny, and it was just a great time. Like sometimes plans and promotions don't go always as you envision and hope the best for. This popped as perfectly as it possibly could. People had a great time with the beer, and then they had an awesome time with the baseball game as well. I can't even remember if we won that night.
And speaking of some entertainment,
yeah,
you upped the ante a little bit this year on some of the themes, because you got some of the premier Playhouse actors involved.
A few games.
Yeah.
A few games we've brought the premier Playhouse out to just perform a number. I mean, you get
well, it's a promo for them too at the same time.
Of course it is. Yeah. I mean, and it's we get 90 seconds generally between innings. So these are short performances, but yeah, they performed little bit of Grease. It was beauty school, rated beauty school dropout. It was great. It was on Pride Night, which was a super good fit. I mean, that's an audience that's going to appreciate Grease even more than the average audience. Even though it's got a lot of mass appeal, and we had a disco kind of night early in the year. Our first Saturday night game was Saturday Night Fever, and they brought a little Saturday Night Fever to the mix as well. So I mean, they were doing some dancing, they were doing some trivia, and it's something for me overlooking or being a part of the entertainment for the Canaries games the last 3 seasons. Always something I want to do more of is to bring in some outside entertainment for everybody, but especially for some of our loyal fans who have to put up with me every night. And we like to spice things up and do different versions of all the games and fun and segments, if you want, that we do. But when you have different people doing it, and it's completely different people, kind of not hijacking, but taking over parts of the entertainment for an evening, it's great. We went to, a couple years ago, we had the University of Sioux Falls band come in and just play some tunes as they would at their sporting events between innings, just because how often do you have a pep band at a baseball game?
Hardly ever.
Yeah, that's fun. So it might happen again within these last 20 games. So, the Premier Playhouse those folks were a blast.
And are you thinking for the future then that we will be seeing some more of this type of thing?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
If I have anything to do with it.
Yeah. In the meantime, in the immediate future then, what's left? Because we're just over halfway.
We've played 30 of our 50 home games.
Okay.
We've played 60 of our 100 games overall. Yeah. So we're on the back side of
60% of the season, John.
Thank you. Yes, we played more than half the season, just a little more than half the season. So it still feels like the halfway point. It's the All-Star break as we speak, as we're talking. But man, we really get roaring again. Our first Friday, Saturday back, July 28th and 29th. So about a week from when most people are listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas in July. We're not doing it once. We're doing it twice. We're doing Christmas Eve and Christmas in July. And we're doing bobbleheads.
Christmas Eve in July.
That's Christmas Eve in July on Friday night, and then Christmas in July on Saturday. Yep, Christmas Day. But we open the presents early on Christmas Eve because it is bobblehead night. Both nights. Every year we have at least one.
Who was the bobblehead?
So we have on Friday night, we have Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation. It's the gift that keeps on giving all year long. And he'll be in his white
robe.
He'll be in I should show you the picture, but he's in a white robe with a cigar hanging out with a flappy hat. Yep. It's Cousin Eddie from that scene where something was very full.
This is a podcast. Go ahead and say it.
The shitter's full.
There we go.
Yeah. So I don't think we
have
have
one of the great lines everybody remembers from a show.
Yeah. We don't have I don't think he's in. I don't think in our bobblehead he's holding the sewage tube.
Okay.
But, I don't know. But he's got Cousin Eddie with the robe and the cigar and the floppy hat, and that'll be the first night for bobbleheads. The second night is from A Christmas Story, and I know I gave you the notes, so I should have made you guess, but it's not Ralphie. It's not a Ralphie bobblehead. It's not Randy, although I do think a Randy bobblehead.
I think that would be great
with his coat,
suit.
In the coat,
everything all
can't move, can't put his arms down. Or Randy eating when he's eating the meatloaf, he won't eat the meatloaf. And Mom tells him, show us how the little piggies eat.
Yep.
That would be good. But no, it's going to be Flick from A Christmas Story, one of Ralphie's friends, because perhaps the most famous scene in a story full of Christmas Story full of scenes, the triple dog daring Flick bypassing the mild what was the line in the movie? The breach, the minor breach of etiquette to skip the triple dare and go straight from the double dog to the triple dog dare. Anyway, it's the triple dog dare. So it's Flick, and his tongue's sticking out, and there's a pole. And it's just before, it's not stuck to the pole. It's just before he hits
not
the
stuck
pole.
to it. Okay.
Yeah. It's the Flick's Frozen Pole bobblehead. So Canaries, 28th, Cousin Eddie, 29th, that's a Saturday. Flick's Frozen Tongue. And the only way you got these bobbleheads, you got to go to the game. I mean, we're not just going to, put the bobbleheads up for sale. You got to go to the game. So you got a ticket and bobblehead package. It's a lower bowl ticket, like pretty people like you sat in when you were at a game earlier this year. It's a lower bowl ticket, so it's closer to the field and a bobblehead, and you can only get them online at tickets.sfcanaries.com.
There we go. Great place for that.
Yeah,
then.
that's the only way you can get them.
All right.
Get the online ticket.
So we've got Christmas in July coming up. What do we have coming up in August then?
We have a Parrot Head night for Jimmy Buffett fans.
Yeah.
Had one last year, the Parrot Head Club of Sioux Falls.
We'll just then have a cheeseburger in paradise that night.
Of course. Duh. Yeah. I mean, they already are at the Birdcage. Chef Justice Cheeseburgers are already cheeseburgers in paradise, but for sure. And the Parrot Head Club of Sioux Falls, which meets once a month, will have their meeting, and I don't think they're going to have much of a roll call procedure, last week's notes, addendums. We'll have a party in the Third Base Beer Garden. Everybody's invited, but the Parrot Head Club will be there. And Big Scott Allen, who plays a lot of beer fests around town, Too Drunk to Fish. Too Drunk to Fish will be there playing nothing but Jimmy Buffett songs, all by request.
Oh, so that night there'll be a pseudo tribute band then.
Pretty much. Wow. Yeah, they did it last year. They'll do it again this year.
Awesome.
It was. It's in the years that I've been here. When it comes to pregame parties, it's always our best one.
Yeah.
Because the Parrot Head Club brings their party there. It's a lot of fun. That'll be a Wednesday night because they have their meetings on Wednesday night, so they want to do a Wednesday night. So a good excuse to stray from your norm on a Wednesday night. Go to Jimmy Buffett Parrot Head night at the Birdcage. 5:30 the party starts. 6:30 the game starts.
And the great thing is every Friday night that you guys have a home game, fireworks. Now that does tie into something, the fact that the league itself, in order for people to not be so tired going back on a weekday to work, moved the game times up in the evening games to 6:30. But that was getting too late to light the fireworks.
That's right.
So now Friday night games are back to 7 now.
Well, yeah, and I circled back to when we were talking about how I said a lot of people leave. It's not like the whole ballpark empties, but 6th, 7th inning, once it gets to be about 9:30 and the games are starting at 7, then people just file out. They got to take their kids to bed, or they're older people and they got to go to bed early or whatever. But now, part of the reason why we moved the start times back to 6:30 was also just for that. So you can stay the whole game. Plus, the league got a pitch clock. So for those people who don't, and that means a pitcher only has 20 seconds to throw that sucker to the batter. So for those who aren't big baseball fans or don't know much about baseball, anyway, the games are going to go faster.
Right.
If you don't like baseball because you think it's too slow, they now go by, and they do. They really do. I'm not just saying that. They things have really picked up. A lot of games are 3 hours or less, which means on most nights, Monday through Friday we start at 6. Well, Monday through Thursday now we start at 6:30, and you're out of there by 9 or 9:30. But for the Friday nights, we during the stretch of the longest days of the year, we had one night where we had just one of those quickie games, and it wasn't dark enough for fireworks, so people had to wait for their fireworks.
Sit around.
The good news is no one complains about that because no one's asking why.
Right.
Why? What's going on? Everybody kind of knows we got to wait for it to get dark. That was a fun opportunity to play some of our videos and do a little ad lib on avant-garde entertainment with Harry Canary and
Gary already made an appearance.
Canary made an appearance. Yes. Yeah. Did a wonderful bang up, take me out to the ball game.
He will be back at some point too.
Well, good.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Gary's a trip.
Yeah, Gary's a lot of fun. But the last time that
looks
Gary
a lot
was
like
there,
Harry, but only with a beard.
Right. Yeah. And Gary had forgotten his glasses, so that threw him off completely. He didn't know that he was going to be asked to perform that evening, so he had no props with him.
Harry would have never guessed.
That's true.
But then
Harry's
again,
always that.
But then again, Harry always has a couple cocktails. So
Yes.
but I'm glad it worked out.
Still my favorite, that interview after he'd had his last stroke that he had, and he finally came back to broadcast games.
Okay.
And I think it was Andrea something. I can't
Andrea
remember.
Kramer.
Thank you. And they had that
ESPN.
Sunday night conversations all the time. And she goes, "So, Harry, what did you learn after your stroke?" "That 80 drinks after a game is too many. A dozen should do."
That's awesome. You're the one that told me the strikes and the balls.
Yes,
story.
yep.
So,
that's still a classic.
Thank you for that, because I tell that one a lot. For those,
There you go.
For those in the crowd that don't just see Harry Canary as just this goofball with giant glasses,
Right,
and walking around with a beer and singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," that actually are like, you can tell the looks by the looks on people's
True.
faces if they really
if
they know the
who
reference,
right.
And I guess for anybody listening to this podcast who doesn't know the Harry Carey reference, he was beloved
legendary
baseball announcer.
Yeah.
Cardinals in the 60s,
Yep.
White Sox
Sox
in the 70s, Cubs in the 80s and 90s. And by the time he got to the 80s and 90s and he was on national TV on WGN every day, he became even more of a legend because everybody got to hear him and see him. And he was just a lively, older fella that kind of enjoyed having some cocktails.
Right.
And you felt like you were watching a game with a buddy more than listening to an announcer announce a game.
Yeah, okay, so while Vin Scully was the classic, beautiful picture painter and so forth, Harry painted another picture, but it was more like it was a bar instead of a landscape painting for a wall.
That's right. You can do the honors of telling the balls and strikes story.
All right, yeah.
You probably did it
to.
on the first of my 17 appearances. It's been a while.
Yes.
I think people have either forgotten.
I don't think you're 17, but you are. I think
feels like
I think this is double digits now. Yeah.
Well, you keep begging me to come back, so I can't say no.
No, see, I can't say no because I had a steadfast rule when I started the show. If anybody wants to be on again, sure. Instead of having to hunt for guests.
Yes. I know that tactic well.
But anyway, okay, so the first time I ever heard this story, it was Mark Grace, who was a great first baseman for the Cubs before he went over to a team that could actually get him a World Series. And Dan Patrick was interviewing him, and Dan asked him, he says, what's your favorite Harry Carey story of all time?
Yeah.
And he said it was the time that, because the director of the show was Arnie Harris.
Yep.
And Arnie and Harry would go to the tracks together. They'd drink together. Mm-hmm. They were buddies, not just co-workers. Right. And going into and out of commercial breaks, Arnie would always have a camera on something interesting or unique and so forth. Well, one time, it's this couple out in the bleacher section making out quite passionately all throughout the game. Every single commercial break, in and out, Arnie's showing this couple. Well, at the time, Steve Stone was...
They were making out every time?
They were making out all the time, the entire game. Okay. And Steve Stone was Harry's compadre in the booth. He was the color guy. And while Harry was the play-by-play, but Harry was much more colorful than anybody else. And he called him Stoney. So
Stoney.
Hey, Stoney. And comes to the seventh inning. And after Arnie's been showing this couple the whole time, Harry says, "Hey, Stoney, I've got it figured out. He's been kissing her on the strikes, and she's been kissing him on the balls." And it made it all the way down to the dugout. The next thing you see is Arnie's got a picture of everybody in the dugout, the Cubs, and they're all rolling.
Wow. Does that mean, so were they watching the game in the dugout then? How did people...
Phone. Somebody phoned it down to him.
Somebody, okay.
And told the story, and they all just went falling all over the place.
He's probably the most beloved. Vin Scully's right up there. But
true.
And almost every city with a Major League Baseball team has some guy in their history who's their beloved radio announcer at some point. But Will Ferrell kind of gave it new life.
Hey, look at the kid in the sombrero.
Yeah, I mean the whole Oh gosh, and so what's fun about being at the ballpark is I tell those that are kind of laughing and say, "Hey Harry,"
Right.
without me doing anything or opening my mouth, they really know, they know it's not just this Canaries character. It's a character based off of a real person and a caricature, Will Ferrell's caricature. But so I'll go and talk a little bit and we'll exchange some fun stories, but I always tell the balls and strikes one. That's always a winner. It's always a winner. And and one of my favorites is panning the outfield. See, part of the story that unless I had a lapse where I wasn't listening to you, which never happens, the beauty of that balls and strikes thing was that they had been showing this couple all day. And the first time they showed it could have been, that's a green light for Harry. He's a very witty and funny fella, quick on his feet to say something funny. Yeah. But he waited all game to deliver that great line. That's a comedian. That's an actor. That's a performer. That's somebody with the wherewithal. So they're panning the outfield one day. And again, Harry kind of, you're waiting to hear what Harry has to say. And it's a hot summer's day at Wrigley Field in the 80s. A lot of tube tops on the women, some bikinis, and a lot of shirtless men. And they just pan. Harry's saying nothing. You're on the edge of your seat because this is just like gold. You know it's going to be gold. And finally, after about 30 seconds, Harry just goes, "Ha! Hey, Artie. We got some good bodies and some bad bodies." Not the most esoteric of thoughts.
But still typical of him.
In fact, it's the exact thought that anybody watching was thinking.
Yeah. Do you know the origins? Here's a tie-in between the Canaries and Harry Carey actually singing the seventh inning stretch.
Okay.
Mike Veck, a former co-owner of the Canaries, was the one that kept Harry when Harry was working for the White Sox, and Mike's dad owned the White Sox, and Mike kept hearing Harry singing the seventh inning stretch, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Yeah.
So one time he finally took a microphone and dropped it down in, and put it all over the PA.
Right.
So all the White Sox fans hear this and start looking up, and here's Harry singing away. And, of course, by then, probably about 10 Budweisers in.
Yes.
And they just rolled with it. And so then Mike gave it to him, and they told him to do it.
Yeah.
And it became a huge hit. And then when he went over to the Cubs, even a bigger hit. Oh.
Yeah, it's a big part of the whole Harry Carey persona is the seventh inning, the take me out to the ball game where – yeah, I guess at Wrigley Field, at some point, he's just got one microphone. Everything's piped into Harry, and he just takes over the ballpark for that seventh inning stretch. So it's special every night. I don't, Harry, and I'm just a game show host for the first 6 innings, but with a costume and a fake name, but I think some people, if anybody actually knows about Harry Canary, you'd think, and you haven't been to a game, you think it's Harry Canary all night. No, we wait till the 7th inning for Harry Canary to come out and do the 7th inning stretch. Take me out to the ball game.
Okay, so we just went off on a tangent there.
We did. That was
Harry
fun.
Carey.
Yeah.
But so let's finish up with what's available for parties the rest of the season out at the Birdcage. And then I'm going to switch up the typical last question.
Yeah. Okay.
No, finish out. What's the rest of the season after
Get
all?
going on. Well, we've got a Kingpin night on August 12th, so that's a Friday.
All right.
Last couple of years, we've been doing Big Lebowski night, changing our name to the Dudes.
Right.
So for a night, we become the Sioux Falls Dudes, and it was a ton of fun. We gave discounts to anyone who wore a robe to the game, and we served mock white Russians because we don't have a liquor license, but that's fine. They were still delicious. And it's great, it's a great nod because I think minor league baseball is a business that is supposed to be about entertainment, and the entertainment's more important than it is in the major leagues. And you're supposed to not take yourself too seriously, and occasionally you like to do some comedy, as our PA announcer Randy and our sound guy Chris And now I'm going off on a tangent, but like some of the fun about going to Canaries games, even if you're not a huge baseball fan, but you're willing to go have a couple drinks and have a night out with your friends, is when the umpires get together and it's taking forever for them to decide something, and the whole crowd's like, "Come on, a-holes, let's go." They start playing the Jeopardy music, or when the umpire or a player from another team goes out and starts whining to the umpire, we'll play loud sounds of babies crying, or some old country tune. I got a tear in my beer. There's a little nod to something pop culture that applies to a certain situation in a baseball game that makes the whole experience a lot more fun. So Randy and Chris do an awesome job making our entertainment palpable and palatable. So what tangent was I going on while talking about them? Okay, Big Lebowski night. Yeah.
Big Lebowski.
So, yeah, we were doing that. We had a lot of fun, but we decided to switch things up this year and do a Kingpin night. So it's National Bowling Day, and Big Lebowski, a lot of it was centered around a lot bowling, but we decided to have a Kingpin night, and that's another great, that was my point. Big Lebowski's very cult classic,
True.
And minor league baseball, to a degree, is, again, a bit of a nod to not taking yourself too seriously, doing things a little off the beaten path, which Kingpin is as well. So we decided to bring in Kingpin for Kingpin night on National Bowling Day. And so any game that we're going to do between innings is going to have some sort of bowling connotation
bowling
to
game,
it.
okay.
Yes.
Including some trivia?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay,
and St. Patrick's Day in August. We're doing Christmas in July. We've done Christmas in July. We've done Halloween in August, but we did that it's kind of like we want to keep things fresh. So instead of doing a Halloween night this year, where you encourage people to wear costumes and stuff like that, St. Patty's night. Who doesn't love St. Patty's Day?
Yeah,
So we'll serve some green beer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Green unis?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And Irish food, Irish music. Again, Jess is going to use her creativity. I'm sure we'll have corned beef and cabbage or something like that. And a lot of Irish-themed music. And so if you're a U2 fan, that's probably going to be a good night for you. But St. Patty's Day in August, on August 18th. We got a kids' night, August 25th. It'll be the 5th time this year we will have had free tickets for kids 12 and under. So all 3 of our Monday games, we had one fan who always thought we should have free tickets for kids 12 and under for every game. Donate or make a donation so all kids could get in free on a recent game. Kids night, August 25th, because kids will be back in school. We're like, how do we keep getting kids? How do we make it so kids who are back in school can still be in the summer mode and go to a Canaries game and drag mom and dad along? Make the tickets free. So that's August 25th. And then August 26th is one of my favorite nights of the year, and was last year, the Celebration of Cultures. So how we have the Festival of Cultures every
June.
Year, because this city is wildly diverse if you allow yourself to actually tap into it.
47 different languages?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not sure yet what we have up our sleeve this year, and even if I knew, I wouldn't want to give it all away. But last year we had a Chinese lion dance during the game.
Those are so great to watch.
I know a guy. I know it's a mutual friend of ours. I think his name is Hector. He's from Peru, and he does.
Well, that caricature right up there.
Yes, of Dave Hawley. So we had Hector out there just willingly drawing sketches of people.
Great person too.
Oh, just terrific. Wow. And a couple food trucks of probably of the Mexican variety, and we last year we borrowed like every flag of every nation represented in Sioux Falls from the Multicultural Center, and so it's cool, and it's a nod to the rich diversity of our city but within the fun of a baseball game. So those are the big ones.
All right.
Yeah.
All righty.
Coming up.
Okay. So my typical questions at the end are always, when you're not part of the arts and entertainment crowd and so forth, what do you like to be entertained by?
Yeah.
And then any other hobbies, etc. But based off of something you said earlier, I want to know which game show host you think you are most like?
Wow. Okay. I can't wait to hear your answer. I don't know if you have one.
Actually, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. You know,
and it's baseball related, even.
Baseball related. Game show hosts. When I think game shows, it sounds very trite, but I mean, I think first, The Price is Right is the king of all time, right?
True.
I mean, there's Jeopardy and there's Wheel of Fortune. I'm usually thinking Price is Right. It sounds oddball and maybe hard to believe. I'm really trying to be my own person. I'm trying to be me.
Everybody
when
tries,
I'm doing these things. And
who
did
you admire then as a game show host?
As purely a game show, because I as an entertainer, Carson's from Nebraska, so I grew up.
Yes.
I grew up anybody, so I grew up wanting to be a talk show host and Johnny Carson, and I grew up wanting to be and more so David Letterman, because he's more of my era.
That's right, Paul.
because I like sarcastic, oddball, don't take yourself too seriously humor. So half the time I think I'm Letterman up there, but it's either Bob Barker or Drew Carey is what I'm getting at. Okay. It really is, because I grew up with Bob, and he had the gravitas, he had the build up to everything, and let's just see what's behind those doors. And right after the contestant bids or whatever game it is, he had the dramatic pause and let's turn around and see what's going on. But I haven't watched nearly as much Drew Carey, because I grew up and I'm an adult, and but I'm usually working at 10 a.m. But the way in which Drew Carey kind of, at first I didn't like him. Because I thought he was a little too kind of like meh, a little too blah. Like he's really not, he's cashing it in, he's mailing it in. He doesn't really care about these people. He's getting the paycheck, and he's just doing I think it was an intentionally understated thing that he was doing, because he didn't want to try to copy Bob Barker. Right. But as I've gone along, I've noticed he does actually care if the guest wins or not. And I don't know. So I like his style too.
Yeah.
So that if I'm channeling game show hosts, I'm channeling The Price is Right.
Peter Marshall.
Okay. You think I'm
Hollywood.
Like Peter Marshall?
No.
Oh, okay, that's your guy.
No, that's mine.
Yeah. Oh, I love him
Hollywood
too.
Squares.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, what's the baseball tie-in? Mr. grew up around Omaha, associated with Kansas City Royals.
Boy, now you have to play game show host. You have to keep giving me hints, because I am clueless.
It's kind of quirky.
Peter Marshall. Okay, so are you thinking of another game show host?
No.
What are you trying to get me to guess?
Peter Marshall's son was Jamie Quirk.
Okay.
From the Kansas City Royals.
Okay, I did not know that. That is weird, wacky, wild stuff. I did not know that. Did you know that, Ed? Yes. Yep. Okay.
You are correct, sir.
Okay, so this is Peter. So do I remind you of any game show host when I'm doing it? I thought you were thinking of something.
Howie Mandel.
Okay.
But that's physical looks.
Thank you. Okay. Appreciate that. That's very true. Yeah. He's very bald, and but I too am very bald. Although this year I'm wearing a taco hat, so I don't.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
taco hat.
That's been an interesting thing. It's caught on.
Sweaty too, I bet.
Not really.
Really?
Not as much as the hair. As
you
the
know,
old
that's
Harry
one thing
Carey
you've been
wig.
very lucky about this year. I mean, there was a span where we were hot as
Hades.
Well, as my mother would say, hotter than Dutch love.
Yeah. Yes.
But and so now it's been pretty decent weather.
Yeah.
They're playing well, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you, Dave.
And great success. The rest of the parties at the Birdcage.
We're having a great time, and we would love it. We're catching on. We've sold more tickets and ticket revenue through 30 games this year than we did through 50 games last year.
That's great.
We had our biggest crowd in years, over 3,500 back in the middle of June, and I think people are coming. We took a big hit, like a lot of businesses during the pandemic and during 2020 and 2021. And I think finally we've got a good social media following. People are understanding that the Canaries are a lot about tongue-in-cheek fun for all ages, and it's a joyous experience to go out there. And finally we're starting to get more people out there. and the team's playing well. And the more the merrier. So
All right.
please come on out.
We look forward to more games.
All right.
Appreciate it, my friend.
I appreciate you for dragging me to do another to make another appearance. I'm glad. I didn't really want to, but you twisted my arm and offered me these what are they?
It's Gentleman Jacks.
Gentleman Jacks. And it worked. So
yes,
thank
it
you.
did. All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Appreciate it, my friend. We'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or xochiros.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
For him, every day is a Holly day. Here again, Dave Holly.
Hit the button, Dave, at least in your brain, to say it. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. Oh, always a pleasure to have Brian Schipper, the Managing Artistic Director of Mighty Corson Art Players, better known as MCAP, here in the Dipsy Doodle Studios. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, too.
It's always a good time.
Absolutely. When you say jump, I say how high. So
yes, you do. Yeah. I appreciate that, too. How high does 5'5" jump?
Oh,
no dunking?
No. I can jump to hit about maybe 5'6".
I hear you on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially, back in the days when I thought I was an athlete, wasn't that good at jumping anyway. Then I got to 420 pounds. I didn't leave the earth. And then when I lost all that weight, I had knee replacement, hip replacement, all that. Nah. Why waste it?
That's right. And here
just
we are
let me get
doing
around.
it.
Yes. And so here we are talking about entertainment instead of sports, because we just had that conversation with John Gaskins talking about all the entertainment out at the Birdcage. So let's get to where entertainment happens a lot. Oh, my goodness gracious. It's so interesting, Brian, is we all still buy season tickets to different theaters.
Yeah.
And it used to be that, okay, that last show of the season, oh, wow, well, guess we're going to have to wait to hear something from them in about September. Not the case anymore by any means, is it?
No. The best thing about doing theater is doing more theater. So that's what we're doing out at MCAP.
And it's been a busy summer. Well, first of all, there was that group that came out to help you out, the Vaughties. Nice people, I hear.
Yeah.
Great fire dancers.
Oh,
Wasn't
I know.
that amazing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow, that was awesome.
The whole
very, very
thing
cool.
was just such a fun day.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was right around my birthday, too. So
Yeah, and has
your
mom recovered from being a volunteer for Jesse's Magic Act?
She has, but when she listens to this again and hears her name
She'll
dropped
start,
a second time.
My.
We're going to have to get her on sometime.
Yes, we are.
She's a hoot.
She is.
Yeah.
Man, that was so fun watching her. So you had that, and then kids camp.
Yeah.
How did that go? And then tell us what they all go through during that time then.
Sure. Kids camp was really, really great. It was they attend over a week, and it's a crash course to do a show. It's a very entry level, get those first steps on stage for elementary schoolers. And so through the course of a week, they audition, get cast in a show, produce the show for their parents on Saturday, fully memorized, fully realized.
Wow.
We even make them sit backstage for 15 to 20 minutes independently on their own, quiet as audience filters in, because the theater way, and there aren't any helpers, so they're all just policing themselves. And so this year was a really great year because I took a step back from it. My assistant, who had been helping me the past couple of years, Logan Levitt, he was ready to take a shot at it, so we switched roles. And
awesome.
So it was so fun to see not only the kids grow, but how he's just continuing to grow and develop as a actor, director, artist. Now, we haven't made official announcements yet, but now board member as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, so he's on the move, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
In fact, he even has a new home.
He does.
Where I did yet another stage fall.
Did you?
Yes. All right. So people have already heard enough about falling at Vaughty's.
Right.
But, they had their housewarming party, and we went over for that. Now, my love and I have these nice new rocker chairs. Lawn chairs, for going out to parties and so forth.
Oh, absolutely. Emily Wilson started bringing hers to our board meetings.
Yeah, so. and it's sturdy as can be, and I tested it out in so many places, and it's like I can get out of this nice and easy, the whole works. Forgot that we were on a little bit of a slant, and it does go back farther than you think.
Oh, no.
But Aaron Sharp will attest to the fact that I kept most of my drink in the hand.
Priorities.
Yes, there were. Yeah. But it's like, man, how many times do I have to do this that I fall somewhere? But regardless of that, it's always fun for people to get so involved and to keep that is their push. It's their passion. Mm-hmm. And they want to get better in every aspect of it. So I applaud Logan in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so he's going to be a board member. He just did that. I know he was auditioning to be, or not auditioning. I'm sure he probably auditioned too for something. But he was interviewing to be one of the directors.
Yeah.
Is that something that we're privy to know at this point, or is that coming out in a release?
Yeah. I've contacted everybody that went through our interview process already, so Ryan's gonna kill me, but I get to say stuff. So I'll let him know to write a quick release fast. Yeah, Logan ended up being selected to direct our winter show through our director process that happened this summer as well.
Right, and I want to get to that. Let's finish up on kids camp and so forth. So how many did you have?
We had 22 this time around. Yeah.
That's excellent.
I know. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and it's got to put a bright smile on your face to go, oh, here's our future. As you start looking at that. Yeah,
well, and I mean, looking at last year's crop of students that we had, we had 2 of those actors in our winter show, you know, and another one of them returned to be a youth role in our kids show as well, or in our spring show.
Right.
So it's so nice to be able to not only see them coming up, but also turn around and incorporate them into our season as a whole as well.
All right. So you mentioned it's a full week, and they actually do it fully memorized. So at what point of the week do they have to be quote unquote off book?
Thursday.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. It's a quick turnaround.
No
doubt. But they get it.
Yeah.
All those synapses are firing, not like adults when we're
overthinking everything.
Exactly.
And what was the response from the parents then that had these kids in there?
The parents love it every year.
Yeah.
It's so great. The amount of times that we get told that, kids are finding their voice through that. Or, like we've tried sports and they haven't really been getting it, but here they are and they're, getting this new confidence. It's nice to see somebody discover where they're meant to be that first time.
They find their element.
Yeah. And invariably, you'll have that one timid kid every year,
right,
who goes through the entire process and doesn't get it and trusts you and does what they're supposed to do, but you can see that they're, not connecting the pieces. But then that first time there's an audience in front of them and they laugh at something they do and a light bulb just goes off.
Boom.
It's amazing. It's amazing, and it happens every year.
Yeah. Now, they also produced it, so are we talking they did some of the sound and they did the lighting and things like that as well? Stage handling? Or
kind of. Well, I mean, they did their own scene changes and tracked their own props.
Okay.
And then we actually have a graduate of our kids' camp, now that she's getting into high school age, coming back and regularly helping Logan. She was what Logan was to me last year, as he stepped up to fill in my role, and she ran lights and sound and was an amazing help, Julia Tinker, and it's so nice to see just continuing that through line.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's move on. So it's all wrapped up on all of the interviews for directors. Okay, so we've got 3 shows. You already mentioned Logan's getting the winter one. So who gets the fall?
I'm directing the fall.
You're going to direct the fall, which is?
Which is They Promised Her the Moon.
Yeah.
And when this episode drops on Thursday, that's our first day of auditions for it. Wow. So I know. Things
that's
move
the
so
crazy
fast.
Things.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it used to be that... you'd hear, somebody's got a show coming up late September, first part of October. So I suppose they'll start auditioning, like last week, August, once the kids start going back to school. But no, that is not the case for anybody anymore when it comes to small theaters.
No, it isn't. And it's, it's so important because, like I've been telling our board for a couple years, the summer isn't the vacation time to go out and do stuff. The summer is preseason, it's where you do all of your changes and all of your, tactical planning and all of that, all of the hard work that doesn't get seen. So that way, by the time showtime rolls around, all you have to do is focus on that. So, in addition to this big long list that, we're not even halfway through talking about the summer events we have going on top of that, we're making all sorts of, strategic and structural changes and shoring up all of the business end of things, because once you get into rehearsals, that kind of has to take a little back seat.
True. Yeah. You don't want anybody getting burned out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we'll kind of circle back to that in a little bit, but let's continue then with who will be directing the spring show?
Sure. The spring show, which is title of show.
Yeah, I love that.
I know. It's so good. I'm going to be directing that show again.
Okay.
So I'm taking just the winter show off. And then Matt Wallach is going to be our vocal director /
Excellent.
Live piano player. So we're not doing canned music. We're going all out.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be so good.
Yeah, and I know you've got some nice speakers in there now.
Yes, yeah. Yep, we just need to get them up.
Yes, in fact, I had a conversation with the person that sponsored that, and I said, wow. He says, yeah, I told Brian, did you have to go that big?
He helped us go that big.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, financially.
Correct.
And but it was great because I walk in there and you were talking about it. It's like, my God, we need a crane to mount these in a 100-seat theater.
Right. Yeah. Yep. But I mean, that's the thing. You always want to be prepared for more than you're ever going to have to do. So.
True. Well, hopefully we're going to fill that 100 seats coming up August 6th.
Yes.
Tell us the name of this event.
Yeah. August 6th is the Fear Falls Mostravaganza.
Mostravaganza. I love it.
Yeah. Yep. And that's going to be a really great event. I had been mentioning to Mo 1 or 2 times about like, hey, we have, the great thing about Mighty Corson Art Players is that we also have complete agency over our stage.
True.
So we can do whatever we want, whenever we want to do it. And so I was like, hey, we should get Fear Falls out for a live show. And finally it was time to just pull the trigger on it. So,
and for those unaware, Fear Falls is a podcast locally written, produced by Mo Hurley, who also is a playwright and is also an author and is a phenomenal actor as well. And she is just so great to be around. And I still remember the first few times I was seeing Mo. Because Mo is, oh, hi, how are you? And she's the softest, nicest person in the world. And I kept seeing her in some roles. And it's like, oh, well, she does a nice job. And then Marisa Moser, who's also been on the MCAP stage, was in a Premiere Playhouse event, Hitchcock's 39 Steps. And she was one of the two females. Mo was the other, and Mo was one of the quote-unquote clowns and had to do a bunch of changes. And the intricacy of the blocking that was in that show was just amazing. Well, fun show. We go out and we wait for the actors to come out and just to say congratulations. And I see Marisa first, and I'm getting ready to go over and give her a hug. And she comes walking right up to me. She says, I keep telling people that Mo Hurley is a force to be reckoned with.
Yep, and she's right.
Yeah,
she's absolutely right.
And Mo has a great talent for suspenseful storytelling, I would call it. A little bit of horror, but a lot of suspense in it. And so that's what her Fear Falls is all about. But here's how this whole day is going to work. It's going to be so fun because I'm going to record my podcast from the MCAP stage, and I will be talking to Mo and also probably have you, maybe Ryan up there, to talk a little bit. And I'm planning on having a handheld wireless mic so that we can go around into the crowd if somebody wants to ask a question of any of you.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. This is going to be a live studio audience event.
Live studio audience event for both things. And then, so after the interview portion, we'll take a break. We'll come back, and we'll actually have two recordings at once in, because it'll be Mo's that she's recording. And we're also going to have that for that week's podcast on the Dave Holly Hour.
Yeah.
And I just love, when you told me about it first, it's like, you said Mo, and, it's like the old Tom Cruise line. You had me at Mo. And so, because as soon as I hear that name, it's like, okay, if it's something I have the time for, can be in, I want to.
Right.
And she's just that much of an enjoyable person, and really, really looking forward to this. So how about tickets? How do we go about getting this?
Sure. Tickets, you can just go right to our front page, mightycorson.com. There's a button right on the front that'll take you right to the ticket link. They're $10 a piece. Or you can, through that ticket link, purchase an MCAP season ticket for $50, and we're throwing in the Mostravaganza for free. Yeah.
That's a great deal.
Yeah, I think so.
So what about the people that already have season tickets for MCAP?
Sure.
So it's like the NFL guys that go buy their season tickets. Oh, do I get the preseason package too?
Yeah. We'll, for season ticket holders, we'll honor that free ticket as well. And then our season,
that's excellent.
Yeah. And then this Mostravaganza is only, the start
one-time shot.
Right. Well, it's a one-time shot, but it's also representative of some of the things that we can do outside of our regular theater season, because we have Storytellers Anonymous, and we made a really good connection with the magician
Jesse
Moffat, who's really interested in performing. So with our season tickets and controlling our venue, our season ticket holders can get discounts at anything that we do through there as well that isn't a part of our season. So it's the more we do, the better value that is too.
Yeah, in fact, Jesse Moffat is one of the sponsors of this show, so we'd like to give him credit.
Hi, Jesse. You're great.
That he is. Your mother experienced it.
Yes, yeah.
She was a volunteer on his show,
Yeah, she still laughed about it last week.
Oh, my. Yeah, and I tell you, because I've known Jesse for going on 20 years, I think. And we've done shows together. We've been in shows together. And I know a lot of what he's doing. And what's great is to see how much of a performer he becomes. He's a very good magician to begin with, but his performance style, and I thought that night of all the times that I've seen him do the majority of those routines, was the best rapport he ever had with an audience. And it was just so fun to see from both perspectives, as a friend of the performer and as somebody producing a show and looking at the audience react.
Sure.
And so that was a great, yeah, he'd love that, especially since he's a hop, skip, and a jump away down there in Brandon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what he said when I gave him a tour. And yeah, so that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
Getting Mo the live audience and a little bit of recognition just singularly about her work that she kind of deserves.
Yeah, she's great. No doubt about that. Yeah. So you'll get a taste of what she can do. And if you've never seen her act, well, you got to get to something she's in sometime too, because she is fun.
Exactly.
Great time. And so, by the way, speaking of Storytellers Anonymous, anything booked upcoming at MCAP for them?
We're kicking around a couple ideas.
Okay.
We have I have some things swimming around in my head that I just need to talk to a couple people about and get out, put out into the world, so that way I actually get around to to making it happen. But yeah, things are happening behind the scenes with that.
Excellent. So you're putting the bait on the hook at this point, then?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So we've got,
but you've had 3 shows basically. There were 2 that were one-man shows back to back, 2 nights in a row, and then Rachel Corey, and then Miss Lacey. Macy. God, what? Macy.
Right.
Macy Lynn. That's what that's where I got it. Do you give me dyslexia? Is that it? I think there was one other time on a show that you had to correct me.
I'm not sure if it's that or the fact that we're nursing a Jack Daniels right now.
Could be that. Could be that.
Cheers.
Cheers to you, my friend. But she got some recognition, was a nominee at Sioux Falls Stage Awards for her one-person show. My name is Rachel Corey. Wow.
Yeah.
Just, I think what I'm just so amazed by every time I go to a production in this town, something hits me that tells me, my God, we've got talent.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's nice that we can kind of, say, oh, hey, you should come to the Sioux Empire. We've got a lot of great stuff going on. But when you actually sit down and think about it, and you look to the people that are on stage, look to the people doing lights, sound, whatever, and all the other arts that we have too.
Costumes.
Yes.
Cindy Bakke.
Oh, yeah. Cindy Bakke was recognized too as a nominee. And just excellent stuff. So it's just, there's a lot of pride in it if you're a fan of arts and entertainment, and especially when it comes to the theater, because there's so many more people involved in that in just one performance.
Absolutely.
What do you find the most fun about your job as managing artistic director for MCAP?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, besides being on my show.
Sure. Besides that, leaving that off the table, because that is always number one. I think, I think some of the most stressful things are also, they become the most exciting things in
because
hindsight,
of achievement,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, Corson's been a member of the theater community for 40 years, and having been there, starting my 9th season with them, looking back and seeing, the accomplishments that we're able to do with such a small space, and the standards that we've been able to keep up with it. There are days when I turn to my board members, my actors, and I just turn to them and I say, we're so stupidly lucky to be able to be to be doing this, So I think just the fact that it exists and the high bar that we're able to continually set, reinventing our space and telling really meaningful stories. That's what it's all about for me at MCAP, and that's the direction that we've been growing in for the past 5 or 6 years, and really seeing that come together and having more people recognize that we're really good at it, it feels really good. Yeah. And it's, and I don't say that to pat my own back, but the cloud of people that have stuck around MCAP and made it better, they're inspiring. They're so much fun to work with, and I'm constantly humbled, and I feel like the idiot in the room, which is exactly where I want to be.
I like that. I'm going to save that as a quote sometime, or a clip from this when we do a big anniversary show or something. All right. Well, the typical last two questions that I have, when it comes to...
Oh, can I mention two more dates?
Of course.
Great.
Yes.
So in addition to everything that we have, structured and planned events that we're doing, we're also throwing open our doors on July 29th and August 5th. We're doing some work days with the board. To clear out some old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready to go for the Mo Stravaganza on the 6th. So July 29th and August 5th. We'll be doing a lot of tear down, repair, rebuild, toss out. So that's a really great time for our community to get together and really enjoy each other's company, and also maybe help me not throw out my back.
Very true. All right. So the final two questions, as per usual. When you're not part of the arts and entertainment crowd and scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
This summer, now that I just recently moved to a slightly bigger apartment where my oven works correctly. I've been it was stupid for an entire year, but I'm rediscovering my love of cooking and baking. I've written it off for a while because I went through just a terrible string where nothing was turning out, but now things are working again, so I'm really enjoying that. My kid's 2.5.
Yeah, Jonas.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So watching him just discover everything.
Oh, cool.
He's turned into a weird Star Trek nerd already. Already, and it's so great because he'll just sing along to the theme song, and it's so fun. So he's just constantly a source of replenishing joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other hobbies then that keep you occupied?
Yeah. Every time I'm on here, I mention Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, you do.
Which is so hard because my group are all actors and theater people. They're Mike Richards and Ryan Howe and Macy, and then some dear friends of mine involved in Comic-Con or SuperCon and some other stuff. So we're pulled in a million directions. So I'm constantly on the edge of my seat about. So I'm calling all of you out. When are we meeting again?
Have to have one.
Exactly.
I need my D&D fix.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
John, I'm looking at you.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Cheers. Thank you. And we will be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment. Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls. Conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics. Bisque, studio time, or finished custom items are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in Sioux Falls today.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to my great guests, John Gaskins and Brian Schipper, and of course, thank you for listening, downloading, sharing, and following on social media, and appreciate the cups of coffee. Now, if you haven't done so far, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, which automatically gets you entered for Pizza with a Podcaster. If you want to hear all 189 episodes, or at least, search through them but find the people that you like, every one of them is available online at davehollyhour.com. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, my name is Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by TJS Ceramics, Posh Boutique, The Sky in Tea, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to davehollyhour.com and look for a coffee cup icon in the lower left. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.